Hey everybody, welcome to CAF Warbird Tube, the show where we talk about World War II, aviation, history, and so much more. Warbird Tube is produced by the Commemorative Air Force, the world's largest flying museum. Our mission is to educate, inspire, and honor through flight and living history experiences. The CAF began the Warbird movement more than 65 years ago, and thanks to the support of individuals like you, we continue to grow strong. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and now our host, Steve Buss. Thanks for watching and keep 'em flying.
Good evening and welcome, everyone. This is episode number 131 of Warbird Tube, and tonight we're going to visit with one of the CAF's newest units, the New England Wing. But just because they might be a new unit doesn't mean they haven't been active. We'll find out more about that in just a few minutes. But before we get started, please do us a favor. If you haven't already done so, take a second to like, share, or subscribe and follow us. And if you do subscribe on YouTube, make sure you click the bell icon and you will get notifications when our new episodes go live. All right. And if you have any information that you'd like to pass along tonight or questions, just type those in the chat box and we'll try to answer those questions either during the presentation or we'll save time at the end. And I'm sure a lot of folks out there are going to have questions for this brand new unit. We have a full house of folks, so pretty much whatever question I think you're going to ask, they'll be able to come up with the answer for you. All right. And also do us a favor if you'd like to find out more information about the Commemorative Air Force, our local units like the New England Wing or any of our aircraft, or if you'd like to join the fun, visit commemorativeairforce.org for all the details. Now, joining us from Florida is Nick Infantino and Lori Seymour and her cast of characters up at the New England Wing. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Steve. Thank you. It's really an honor to be here. I really enjoy watching past Warbird Tube, so it's really an honor to be on the show tonight.
Great to have you. And Lori, wave from the wing so we can see you. Thank you. And why don't we go around the room and introduce the folks who are at the hangar with that beautiful PT-23.
I'll start off.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ed Mullen. I'm the maintenance officer up here, ANPIA, commercial pilot, CFI, and basically running the maintenance for the wing at the moment.
I'm Rich Little. I'm part of the operations. I'll be the next instructor pilot for the PT-23.
Hi, I'm Carl Soderstrom. I'm a student pilot who's just interested in old airplanes and this one in particular.
I'm Michael Cohen. I'm just a helpful volunteer here.
All volunteers are helpful.
Tom Bear, APIA, and part of the wing.
All right.
Paul Infantino, Nick's dad, World War II history buff, aviation enthusiast.
Hi, Lori Infantino, Nick's mom.
Wow. A true family affair going on here. Well, Nick, talk us a little bit through, well, first of all, the reason that you are not with all the other wing members is that you're in Florida, right?
Yeah, so basically, I'm in college right now. I'm a college student. I'm the second year in college now. I go to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, and I'm studying the aviation maintenance science track. So basically, you get your A&P as well as actual degree with a certain area of concentration.
Excellent. All right. And how much more schooling do you have? Is that a 4-year program?
Yes.
All right.
You
So you're
can
halfway
do
through.
a 4, but I'm doing the 4-year program.
Okay. All right. Well, talk us a little bit through how this wing came to be and get the lowdown on not only the airplane, but also all the activities and things that you've been up to since you formed.
Yeah, so to start off, this was about 3 years ago now. Basically, I was really interested in the CAF. There was actually an airplane at a local airport that was just sitting there, and me and my friend just were talking about it, and he's like, well, maybe the CAF can do something about this, and started to learn more, ended up watching some Warbird tubes, and I had put a question in that said, how do I start a new unit? I'm interested. And Leah Block actually sent that response to me. And it just happened to be at the same time that they started the new unit initiative. So basically, filled out a form there, and the rest is history. Now, you will hear about this history, but that's how it really started. Now, this photo that's here, this was an older photo of the units before we formed. That's why I put this up here. So basically, that's, there was nothing really in the Northeast. That unit up in New York, that was the Buffalo Wing, I believe. And I don't know what their situation is these days. But we wanted something in the Northeast that was for like the whole community, and we basically really pushed to try and grow it. So as you know, Steve, the CAF has been around for a while. And basically, it was more southern, and it started to grow, but it's never been in New Hampshire before or New England, and we really wanted to figure something out to do that. The Air Power History Tour would show up, and a whole bunch of people would flock to this. So, I actually got a phone call from Gerald Oliver. And he was like, he was like, how old are you? I was right before my 17th birthday. It was about a week and a half before my 17th birthday. First ever phone call, it was great. It was great. And ever since, Gerald was our new unit mentor. He did a great job with me and everybody with the unit. He set a great example. And then once he brought David in, even more. I mean, it was just so good to work with them. They really gave me a lot of good advice, and we were able to spread that through the unit. And we had to do all the new unit initiative objectives, with which, if you're not familiar, basically that's sign up 30 colonels. You got to be 30 colonels, at least 5 aircraft sponsors, and then you got to find hangar space. That's a lot of work. It's not easy. It's a lot of digging, basically. And that's what we started to do. And over time, we were able to do it. So if you want, Steve, you can go to the next slide. So this is how we started out. This is how we started out. This was an event in Nashua. It was about a week before, actually, the Air Power History Tour showed up. That's later in the presentation. But this was just, we were a group that was having little Zoom meetings, putting the idea together, trying to make plans. And that's, I remember, Aura. We got Mike Hirsch on the left of that's my dad in the blue, but the guy in the tan, that's Mike Hirsch. He's our safety officer. And then my father and I. And this was just some small aviation barbecue event for the Aviation Museum in New Hampshire, which they're a great partner with us. They really support us. They let us bring our aircraft to their events, and just a great community. So that's pretty much the first public thing. We went out and talked about it to people and spread the word a little bit. So you can change a slide if you like. So around this point, I kind of have to thank the late great Andy Travnicek. He really taught me how to recruit. He did a lot of recruiting. He gave me a lot of ideas and set a lot of things that I still do with the CAF and the unit today. Unfortunately, we lost him, but I still carry on what he wanted me to do, and the whole unit does as well. As they know, they all knew him too, and great guy, and he lives on through us. So we got a good thing going on. Next slide. So I know you're probably thinking, why is there no people, or this is just some photo of Fifi? Well, the Air Power History Tour was nice enough to let us have a recruitment table when they showed up to Nashua. And this was in 2021. And basically, this is just a perspective photo. Really, that week was so busy for us, we didn't end up taking a lot of photos of ourselves. I mean, it was very weird. It was the first time I've really done something like this. So, it was different. But basically, we had a simple recruiting table, a lot of stuff from headquarters. and then the new unit initiative information, and just talk to people about it, recruit people. And some of these people are here today. Some of these people in this photo, not a photo, but the video you see right now sitting around the airplane, they were actually at this event and talked to me at this table here, and here we are on Warbird too. So that's pretty much that's where we started our last stride for our 30 members, is right here. This is very monumental.
Yes. Now, for those of you who are in the hangar, what was your reaction to seeing a young guy like Nick trying to get a unit started? That's a pretty monumental task, even for someone who's maybe a little older, more experienced. But it looks like all you guys and gals have all come together to create this great unit, and I can just feel the energy that's coming off when I read about all the things that you're doing. But what was that initial reaction?
Well, I don't know. When I first met him, I was a little surprised, and I didn't realize how young he actually was till someone told me. But if you talk to him about this for 10 minutes or so, the age is no longer a factor. It was just surprising. He just came across as someone significantly older than someone. I think there was a meeting a long time ago that after meeting we said, hey, let's get a couple of beers. He's like, oh, I can't do that. And I was like, wait, how old are you? And then he was like still in high school. And he could have knocked me over with I was surprised. Like he pulls off such a much more mature, the kid's focused. He's got a way better plan in life than I had at his age. I'll give him that. So he's got all the right things going on, and you can get behind him even though he's young, which is awesome. And that's just my personal perspective.
True. Thank you, Ed.
Okay, let's move on. Beautiful Stearman.
Yeah, so this might look familiar. So this is, again, this was during the tour stop. This was another monumental moment that same week. We actually had Rick Bell fly up to basically be a person to see, what our group was looking like, to have an actual legit meeting with somebody from the CAF. And this was the backdrop to the meeting. We had about, I'd say 50 people, a lot of pizza. If you were there, you remember it was endless pizza. It was endless pizza. I think we had pizza for like 3 months after that. I mean, it was it was crazy because we had the people who were interested. And then which was really nice was the B-29, B-24 squadron showed up as well. And they supported the unit, which was amazing. They were very exhausted. They had a long day. They could have just went, to the hotel and go to bed, but they stuck around, and that really made me proud, and it made everybody proud, and it was really good that they had our backs.
Yeah.
So again, Steve, we were new to this. There were actually not really any photos of that meeting besides that, which is kind of weird, I know. But that's what it symbolizes. So now we go into more recruiting, right? We have the unit, things are moving along. At this point, we already had our charter to become a CAF unit. This was at the Brunswick, Maine Air Show. It was in early September, I believe. Anyways, Rich, he flies 2 T-34s, and we were lucky enough, because again, we were in the process of getting an aircraft. He was able to bring this aircraft for us for the static display, to recruit people. And this is a photo with some of the Blue Angels members. Me and Lori are in the middle. I think my parents are in the background at the tent, that red tent. That's the red tent, the famous red tent. But yeah, it was a good event. We met a lot of new people. Again, it was cool because you're on the other side of the air show perspective. You were kind of in the the organizing and the running, not just you're at an air show. That was our first run at also walking around an airplane, making sure people are doing weird things to it, keeping the airplane safe and the people safe, because safety's first. So.
Yeah. What's the charter date for the unit?
The turning gate?
The charter date.
Oh, charter date. So July 22nd. It was during Oshkosh.
Okay.
It was during Oshkosh. I remember that because one of Andy was actually at Oshkosh, and we were talking back and forth, and he was like, "Oh, we did it." I was at work. I was, again, remember, I was in high school. I was working at a hockey rink when I got the email saying, "Oh, we got the child."
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's when we got it. So yeah, it was the week of Oshkosh of 21.
All right. So now you're moving toward getting an airplane. I mean, things are moving quite quickly for the unit. I know units can sometimes have years and years before they find a permanent home, and even longer to get an aircraft. So it's one of the interesting things about this unit is that it's just so much excitement that's gone into it, and so much forward movement.
Yes, I mean, we really had a lot of a lot of strength with our people in our unit. But I'm also thankful for David Oliver for communicating with me a lot. I know he will probably remember. I had free time for about an hour and a half in my senior year of high school, which was around this time these last few photos were taken. So I'd email and take care of all that stuff, everybody. I'd take care of my schoolwork, and then, start emailing, making sure things are getting done. But then this, David's like, hey, there's this PT-23 at headquarters. It's been here for a little while. We're talking to Jim, and we'll see what, because Jim's still on the airplane, Jim Lash. And so he was like, oh, we're going to talk to Jim, and we'll see what Jim has to say. This was the first ever photo we have of the airplane that we kind of, maybe this is it, so it was really cool to see that. And at the same time, right, so this was our logo, right? This was another big deal. Logos are a big deal, as you know, because they're on everything, social media, your PX, things like that. So this was cool because it was everybody from the unit. We had people, do ideas for this, and it all came out to this. And this was after we knew we were getting this aircraft. And basically, we wanted something New Englandy, right? Some were like, oh, maybe the mountains or a lobster in the air or something. There was a lot of interesting ideas, which were all cool. And we all came together around this lighthouse, the lighthouse photo from Chad Hill, Django Studios. He's the one who did this, great artist. I'm still, every time I see this logo, it's like, it just represents the group so well. So now this is Eric Zipkin. He's on the general staff. Again, remember, I'm in school. I'm in New Hampshire. I'm in class, and he sends me. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to headquarters. You want me to take some photos of the PT?" And he took a photo. This photo of him at the airplane when it was starting to get worked on. And that was cool. Just having a photo like this. It was like, there we go. And he's a member of our unit, so it was like kind of one of our people, our person with the airplane. It was one of those things, which was really cool. So now this was in the winter time at the general staff meetings that happen every year. I've never been to Dallas before, and as you see, right, if you were there, some people who are watching this, they probably were there. Around this time, it was a little cold. I had the shorts on. A lot of people will remember me for the shorts. That's how Hank actually introduced me to some people and goats. He's like, oh, you can tell he's from New England. But anyways, this photo is a really great photo that I will always cherish, basically. I know the unit will too. This is a photo Jim showed me the airplane for the first time, and I'm very grateful. I know the wing is grateful too that Jim was able to let us have the airplane for the CAF unit, and he did a great job helping us get it up to where it is now. And, I'll forever be grateful for that, and I know the unit will as well. So now we got this. Again, this was the same event, the staff meetings. This is with, so these are the Presidential Spirit Awards. Basically, the new units got it. This is, I'm on the right, obviously. And then Gerald Oliver's in the white shirt, and Myron, I forget who's, Jill from, they're from the Music City Wing. So there was us in the Music City Wing. And we kind of started around the same time. So it was cool really getting to know them as well. And then you got David Oliver all the way on the left. And it was I'm really cool. I really think this photo is really interesting because it shows the other people that were doing the same thing with the 2 unit mentors that, it's almost like, oh, there's their people that they created, the new units. So.
Really? Are you still in touch with the Music City Wing?
Once in a while, yeah. I mean, once in a while, not much. I know I think their social media person reached out to me a long time ago. But actually, I know somebody who knows Myron, and she was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to their stuff and see their hangar and things like that. So it's cool. There's kind of a people that know what the Music City Wing is. And so again, then there's this photo. The CAF was always about, educate, honor, inspire, right? And with those 3 things, you build a community, right? And this stuff will never last if we don't get the next generation involved. So this photo, again, this also has kind of a special place. This was that same week. So I met Zero from the Tex Hill wing, the Tex Hill cadets, and a great group of kids. Him and Cameron had a great leadership thing going on to get these kids learning about airplanes. Basically, while we were there, I think they didn't go into that hangar. I'm not sure. And they were like, "Oh, can you take us in the hangar?" And I was like, I'll take him in the hangar. And I was able to take him in the hangar. Kind of gave him a little walk around of the airplane. We took this photo before we left. So, it was kind of one of those cool things. All the younger generation in the CAF with an airplane. So this photo, this was now in the springtime, I believe, of 22, spring of 22. Basically, this was the airplane in its annual inspection, getting ready to go to New Hampshire. This was in Dallas. So this was photos. It was interesting. David would send me photos of the progress. It was really interesting watching the whole thing happen. So this was, once we knew this was happening, we knew it was starting to get closer. So then there's these photos. So again, remember, I'm still in high school, senior in high school. I remember I knew the airplane was getting ready to fly. And I didn't know exactly when. I knew the time frame, but not exactly when. So I remember I was taking a test. How high school is these days. I don't know if you do, but you got to put your phone up on the table up front, so you don't have it. And I remember after taking this test, I go up there, grab my phone, and I see this picture that you see on the left here of David and Jim flying the airplane. And it was just really cool to see that. The progress, again, there's just more progress. I know David was happy. I know Jim did a lot of work, and I'm sure he was happy too. And then on the right, I believe that's another flight they did, just getting the airplane used to flying again. I believe that's David and Lenny in the back. Lenny is from headquarters. I believe that's his. Yeah. Next slide. So then it comes to this. I know Tom's there in the background, I believe. It came time for our pilots to go down there, get checked out, and bring the airplane to New Hampshire. Basically, it's the photo of Tom and Garrett outside headquarters, and then that picture on the right is Garrett getting his checkout with David Oliver at CAF headquarters. So this is another photo. This is Tom and Garrett the morning of, I believe, of getting ready to bring the airplane home. This was a photo that, it was really cool how they'd send me photos on this journey. I'm really glad that they did that. So you could share it. And, it was about, I think it was 3 days, but it was a long journey for them. And I'm very thankful that they were able to do this.
Right. This is a long cross country from Dallas. It's where you're located. I see they're smiling now, but I mean, do you have a picture of them coming up when they actually land and they look all tired, dirty for 3 days in line?
Yeah, there is. If you'll see. Again, this is Tom and Garrett with the headquarters crew. Getting ready to bring the airplane home. A lot of work, you see this photo right here, a lot of work went into this photo. You had to start off signing people up. You had to get your aircraft sponsors, your hangar. You had to get your charter, and then you had to do all the work to get the airplane to prove that you have, the people and the money to provide for the airplane. The CAF, you don't just get an airplane. You got to get it worked through the general staff, and then they got to vote on it in the quarterly meetings. So a lot of work went into this photo right here, and after that, pretty much they flew the airplane home. This photo, I believe this is the photo at Helena, Arkansas, I believe. This airplane was served in Thompson-Robbins Field, in Helena, Arkansas. It did a lot of its time there. It also did some time at Embry-Riddle Field, actually. I go to Embry-Riddle now, but it's kind of cool to have that connection. That field was in Tennessee. I believe it was Union City, Tennessee. So that's where that was. I spent a little bit of time there. You can see it in the logs. We have the logs today, but this is the photo there. Story goes that they had a lot of people show up, actually, when the airplane showed up. I remember there was a Facebook post about it. You could see some people walking around the airplane there. But again, it was cool to do something like that, Very, being able to connect that to the CAF mission, educate, honor, inspire. Some of these people may have never even seen a PT-23 before, and you get to educate them on the aircraft, what it did, and those people will reflect on the veterans who flew them, and it was really cool, and people learned about their local history while we brought the airplane across the country. And Tom, is Tom still there?
He is.
Yeah, he is.
Tom, if you have anything to add, please, chime in.
Yeah, they to the point of where I think there were 2 news stations came out. The mayor came out, the airport manager, most of the commission was there. They had nobody ever lands there ever again. It was kind of a unusual thing that no other PT-23s or during that whole stint has ever come back. Once they were gone, they left, and that was it. So it's actually just now an agricultural spraying field. So that's all they do with it now. But still kept up, and they're trying to revive it. But it's a tough situation down there. So it's a lot of neat history too. I guess the sister airport was also a big bombing range right next to it. So it's a big area where you can't go into because there's still live ordnance from World War II, as I understand it's still down there for training. So pretty neat.
So we got this. So we got this photo. I believe this was okay. So again, speaking of the Music City Wing, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe, didn't you share the hangar with them when you went? You actually stopped where they're located.
But there were several places where they allowed us to just join in and use the hangar at almost every airport that we went to. It was an unusual thing to see that aircraft, so everybody joined in. So that was fun. It's a small world, aviation, I mean, everybody loves it. So yeah, everybody.
It's amazing too because the PT-23 during World War II, they were everywhere, right? At all the training bases and things. And now to have an airplane like that drop in at an airport, it draws a crowd, and it's a sort of celebrity. And I wouldn't be surprised if people were kind of, well, no, I think it should be in my hangar tonight, kind of jostling to see who gets to take care of the baby for the night.
Yeah, there was one airport that we went to, I believe in Pennsylvania, that it was kind of a little bit of a fight. That was kind of neat. Yeah.
And then this was, they landed, I believe this was day 2, when they landed for the day in Marshall County Airport. That's pretty much all I know from that. Again, Tom will know more about this if he wants to add anything.
Sure. Where is Marshall County?
Yep, so that one, I believe that one, I'm way back, but I believe that one was one of the Western Pennsylvania ones that we went into. And I know to get that, we had to go around a pretty large cell storm, and it was some incredible flying over mountains. I don't know if anybody knows about the topography of West Virginia, Pennsylvania, but it's very hilly. On top of every mountain is all of the fire coming out from obviously, from where they're drilling and doing their fracking and everything. So it was the topography. It was fairly, I wouldn't say a low overcast because I can't say that, but it was an interesting flight. It was a lot of fun, obviously, to be able to navigate through all that and the clouds and that was probably one of the most memorable areas. Other than going over the Appalachians when we went, we actually had to turn a little bit back after going over the Appalachians. And when we were flying fairly low the whole trip, but when we got to the Appalachians, obviously we had to go. One of the faults that we had is we didn't lean properly, and it started running rough. Fortunately, we were right over top of a 4,000-foot runway when it started going, so we just turned around. We had to clean plugs and different things, but that was, I guess, the secondary most memorable part of the trip. Being in a strange airplane and listening to it sputter a little bit was kind of fun. Over the Appalachians, yeah.
Yeah, so this photo, this was actually that morning they left that airport. So that's what this photo was. This was the start of the day 3 of the journey. Basically. So this is when they brought the airplane to Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. That's where Piper, a lot of the Piper Cub events happen there. So it was really cool to get this photo. Tom said to me, "Oh, here we go, look where we are," and and it's just really cool to have that connection. Now, this is another great photo. This is when the airplane, so, we're based in Hampton, New Hampshire. We're based in Northampton, New Hampshire, Hampton Airfield. Because of the situations and the ceilings were, getting very smaller, couldn't make it there. So they ended up making the decision to land in Manchester. I live in Manchester, about 10 minutes away from the airport. Troy, our finance officer, he's in this photo as well. He's the one in the black jacket. He also I know he works at the airport. He flies corporate, so he's familiar with the airport. I don't know if he was closed that day, but either way, we were able to go there, see this airplane land, and it was the first time, we saw Garrett and Tom since they left to go to Dallas, and it was the first time I got to see the airplane it's not in Dallas anymore, and it was really an honor to have them be able to do this and to complete the trip like that. But we still had one more stop to go, and we saved it for that Sunday. So this was the end of that Friday, I believe. And it was really cool because we could set things for Sunday, let people know the airplane was arriving and things like that.
And before we move on, I've got to point out here that we have the beginnings of the flight instructor owl eyes. I was reading a book about flight instructors in World War II, and when they wear the goggles, the more time you fly, obviously windburn, sunburn, and everything else. But right around where the goggles sealed, you got the whites around your eyes, owl eyes. So you guys did have a good time getting all the way across the country.
Yeah, they did. Garrett was up front, so he had most of the wind. I know Tom did too. It was more noticeable on Garrett. Anyways, this was another photo. Taking care of the airplane, getting it ready, closing it up for the night, doing these checklist items, and this was just the first time we had the airplane in our region, basically. That was a big deal. Then there's this photo. So that Sunday, Tom and Garrett went out to Manchester. They fired up the airplane. We had a whole crowd of people at the museum in Manchester. They have the Aviation Museum in New Hampshire, pretty cool place. Highly recommended, by the way. And we were able to get requests to taxi. So the taxiway goes right by the museum, and we were able to taxi by the museum before I took off. So we had a crowd of people. There's photos of it. There's a photo of it after this, I believe, in the presentation. But that's when they landed at Hampton. This was it. The airplane was home. We had our hangar there, and that was the end of the journey from Dallas. It was really cool to see the beginning to end of that journey, and to know the airplane was home and at our hangar was a very good feeling, especially for something I've never done. Yes, I wasn't flying the thing, but I was organizing it, and it was a good feeling to have the airplane, our pilots there, and we had our whole unit, all of our membership, even other people from the airfield were there to watch this happen, and it was really, really, that was a really memorable day. And that's a photo. So again, once the airplane was there, we had our members take photos with the airplanes. That's Mike Kurtz, safety guy. This is Richie. Richie's awesome. He's gonna be one of our pilots. He's very, very enthusiastic about this stuff. Great member. And yes, I mean, you could see how excited he is just looking at that photo. So it was really cool. We got a photo here of me, Mike, and Richie with the airplane. And there's a whole bunch of photos from that. You can keep going. There's Rich. There's Rick sitting in front of the airplane. Again, it was cool seeing everybody just take photos with the airplane because we worked so hard at getting to that point, and now it was there. So this photo, this was from the museum. I believe the photographer was either way. The photographer made an interesting idea to take this photo, I believe. I think he stood on something. I forget what he stood on. It wasn't a ladder though. Anyways, this was from the union leader. This photo kind of says it all. This photo stuck with me. Often all the work that we put in, this photo of the guy tipping his hat off as Garrett and Tom taxi by, nothing really beats that. The picture says it all. And that's how I kind of recap that whole journey. You know, it went well.
It's a great shot. I mean, it really is.
So now we go to about a week and a half after, I believe, we have our first events. We were at the Nashua Airport for the Aviation Museum of New Hampshire's barbecue. They have a flying barbecue. It's a pretty cool event. It's all local people, which is nice. Basically, we brought the airplane in 2 or 3 days early. Garrett flew it in, so I wanted to meet him there, help clean the airplane up because he had to go work. So we put the airplane in the hangar, cleaning the oil. My dad was with me, or under the plane, cleaning the oil off, making the plane look nice. And hear people walking around the corner. And basically, it was these 3 gentlemen, Mr. Tamposi, senior and junior, and Bob Bird, who does maintenance at Nashua. Mr. Tamposi Sr., that's who's next to me. He is 103 now, I believe. He was a flight engineer on the B-25, and this was kind of my first interaction with a World War II veteran, with this airplane, and that was really interesting. We had a great time talking with each other, and he came to the event a couple days later, and we got to see him with the airplane. He's a really great guy. He's still around, and his stories are amazing. This is our first photo of with our volunteers who helped out at that event in Nashua. We got me, my dad, Andrew, who's our PX officer, Richie, Cindy, and Meredith. So we got a little group there. First event, it was really good. We learned a lot of things, which was great. And everybody was safe, so that's the important part. This is just another picture from that event. It was a good crowd of people. A lot of people never seen a PT-23 before, so we're really able to teach them about it, which was really awesome. Now this is the photo of Richie. I did have to put this in. It's a really good photo. Again, about the educate, right? Richie's big into the reenactment stuff, living history kind of things. And he was able to bring his equipment to take photos with this airplane. And you just see him in the photo, but behind him, behind the camera, there was just a crowd of people watching this. So it was really cool to see them really look at it like they've never seen anything like this before. So it was really good to have that happen. And I thank Richie for doing that. He's very enthusiastic about this stuff. And we had a great time that day doing this stuff. That's another one with the equipment with the airplane. And so that gotta get the radio in there. Yeah, so those are the photos from Nashua. So now about the community, right? We really were involved with the community. This is the Aviation Museum of New Hampshire's. They had an event. The Aviation Museum of New Hampshire's was it 50th reunion of the Northeast Airline Yellowbirds. They got bought by Delta. It was the 50th anniversary that they got bought by Delta, and we were invited there. And we were able to have some of our members go to this thing, and it was really interesting. Again, we just got to meet some more people in the community. But being part of your local community is really good for a CAF unit. That's how you're going to grow it. That's how you're going to sustain the unit. So being able to be a part of this and be featured in it was really cool. Meredith and I actually were inducted into the Yellowbird Society. Basically what that is the young generation making, big, doing big things in aviation. So it was really cool. It's an honor to be a part of that. We actually got original pins that the Yellow Bird employees used to get. So I actually have the original old pin that's over 50 years old probably. So it was a really cool event. Jeff Rapsis from the Aviation Museum did a great job organizing this. It was a good event, and it was a good community thing. Besides airplanes on a ramp with our units. So now we have our PX crew. Can't forget the PX crew. PX is a big thing in the CAF units. So on the left, that's my mom. On the right, there's Cindy. Cindy just recently, actually, she does a lot of stuff around the Dallas area now, which is cool. But she's still part of our unit. She's actually our adjutant. And they did an awesome job running our PX. That's a big thing. You sell T-shirts, hats, stickers, patches, all those things. And this was before we had hats and things like that. So this is when we were just starting. If you could tell, I have a little foam presentation board in front of the table with photos from the CAF calendar of CAF aircraft, just to get people interested, and because they're like, oh, what's this all about? Things like that. Now we upgraded to banners, which is great. We have nice banners and all that, but it was really started off very small and just kept growing it. This was the airplane at the ramp in front of the museum in Manchester. So that the tan and green building you see right behind the tail, that is the old terminal from 1930s, I believe. That was at Manchester. Manchester was called Grenier Airfield. Grenier Field during World War II was a major training base. So it was really cool to have this kind of World War II connection to that. For me, this is where I saw my first Warbird event, on this very ramp you see here in this photo. This is the first time I ever got exposed to Warbirds, back when I was 4 years old. So this was really, this event for me was like full circle. I know it was our first time in Manchester with their events with an airplane. So it was really cool to show off the airplane. You see in this photo here, I'm actually talking to people. Mike's on the other side of the wing talking to people. And we had a great time. Very fortunate for Garrett. He was busy, and he was able to fly the airplane in when he could, and we were able to have that airplane there. We were able to work things out, and it was just great having that airplane there. So this is the original logbook of the airplane. Some Warbirds don't have their original logs. Sometimes they get lost. A lot of Warbirds after the war, they would get sent to the boneyard and they were used as scrap. They'd be melted down, but some of them did get saved. And this one had its logbooks and it was saved. It was bought after the war. And this is the logbooks here. You can see everything was mostly stamped, but you do have a few signatures. And we keep it intact. Basically, we keep it intact, take care of it as we should. It's a very special part of the airplane. So this was this summer, actually. This Ed, Meredith, and Mike doing some work on the airplane. This is right outside our hangar. So that's actually where we are now, just outside there. If you pull the airplane out, that's what it kind of looks like. Yep. And now we're getting to the end of this presentation. For my presentation, Lori's is coming up. Basically, recently, my dad was actually driving through Hagerstown, Maryland. Our aircraft was one of the first PT-23s ever built, and it was built in Hagerstown, Maryland. This is the photo of the hangar it was built in. This is where this airplane was built. And it's really cool to have that connection. They actually have some PTs there. It's the Hagerstown Aviation Museum, I believe. Seems like a great place. I'll be checking it out when I'll drive home from school this summer. I will definitely be checking that out. But it's really awesome to see that they have history alive there and keeping the PTs going. And then this is pretty much the latest photo, or not the latest, but one of our latest group photos with Diamond Lil. This was in Westfield, Massachusetts this June. We were able to have a tent there. We were very fortunate to have another recruitment and PX tent there. We were supposed to have the airplane there, but you know how airplanes are. Sometimes they don't want to fly. They just, they don't want to go. So you don't push it. And we still went. We had a great time. Had a very great time. And this is our group photo in front of Diamond Lil at the end of that week.
Oh, cool. We've got some of the maintenance crew and some of the pilots that are in the hangar. What's the current status of the airplane?
Well, we've completed the annual, and she's made a couple of test flights. We're working off a couple of minor gigs, and she'll be back in the air within a couple of days, actually. We were working on it tonight right before the video started, so I climbed off from bleeding the brakes and a couple other minor things. So maintenance is always going on with something of this age, right?
Oh, yeah. And the airplane will be one of the airplanes featured in the 12 Planes of Christmas, which is coming up obviously around Christmas time. What are you hoping to raise money for the airplane?
Well, there's a series of things that we really want to basically restore on the aircraft. She is airworthy as she sits, but there's a difference between being airworthy and being a good example of the type, right? There's some maintenance items we'd like to take care of. We'd like to rebuild, like, for example, the landing gear, oleo struts and that sort of thing, and bring them up to, full spec. We need some other maintenance items on the finish and interior parts. There's a whole list of things that you just run up with an 80-year-old airplane. It would be, right now, like I mentioned, we're working on the brake system. These are the old expander tube type brakes. They don't make those anymore. They're hard to find parts for. To do the STC for an upgrade to a Cleveland brake would be a great safety improvement and also improve the longevity of the aircraft. And while it's not original equipment, it would be a nod to keeping her going for another 80 years, right? So that's the sort of work we're looking at planning on doing.
Lori was gracious enough to take some photos, kind of the airplane in up close and personal. What are we looking at here?
So that is from our winter ground school, and Garrett sitting on the wing and introducing us to systems, and we have her uncowled so that we have a good look at how all the systems work together. And a number of these photos in that series were related to our winter ground school.
I love the kiddie pool for oil retention. I remember that. I remember that airplane being in the Dallas hangar, and it always had a pool of oil under it. We've got a shot here, I think, of the pretty basic instrument panel.
Yep. So that's the inside. I believe that is looks like that's the rear seat instrument panel. So that's passenger seat. That was a really nice photo that one of our members took, and that's our member Cindy on the other side of the propeller, who you guys now see a lot of down in Dallas, I believe. And it's just a very nice shot of when she was assisting Ed with some of the maintenance we were doing this summer.
Now, this one is one of my favorites because those are the shiniest work boots I've ever seen.
I think, was that when you were taking out the tachometer cable, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You had me working on the VSI, I believe is what it was, the vertical speed indicator, and I was upside down.
That's awesome. That's such a great picture.
Sometimes, being the smallest member of the unit has its perks or disadvantages.
Love it.
I love this one. It's like the A-team of the maintenance squad.
Yes.
Ed and his angels. So this one was one of our work days, and there's a laundry list of things that those of us that don't have A&Ps can help with, right? And obviously there are things that we cannot help with, and that's very explicitly laid out. However, under supervision and with correct instruction, there are small things we can do. So a lot of us were around. There are a number of us that were there for just moral support, but others, we were holding things, helping Ed. And that was a really fun day for us. We got a lot of engagement that day. A lot of people came out. We really had a nice time together. And the plane got a lot of attention. Ed got more work done that way that day than he had most weekends.
I also think that getting the rest of the unit involved, get your hands greasy is what a lot of people sign up to do, right? Yeah. And that's people, they want to actually keep the airplane alive. And if we can get them involved, it lends a helping hand, and it also makes people feel good about participating in the maintenance and that sort of thing, and getting to be hands-on, and we provided opportunity to learn a lot about aircraft in general and systems by actually working on it. So it kind of promotes the educational side of it too, for members of the unit at least.
Exactly. And I know I'm not sure which one introduced yourself as just a general volunteer or whatever. There's no such thing. There you go. There's no such thing as just a general volunteer in a CAF unit. I mean, you've got the opportunity to do all sorts of things. Obviously somebody's got to sweep the hangar, but that's okay, because sometimes you get to work on the airplane and sometimes you get to go flying, right?
Yep.
Hopefully soon.
And who got to clean this?
That was a crew. That took like 5 of us.
Yeah. That was an all hands on deck.
Wow.
What exactly happened there?
Yes, it.
That's when he sat for like 3 months without turning over, and that was the turnover after having sat for a bit.
The exhaust ports tend to bypass a little bit of oil, which fills up the exhaust ring, and then when you crank her up, about a cup and a half of dirty oil blows out the exhaust and covers everything on that side of the aircraft, including the bystanders who might be behind you. So, wow. And it's we call it the automated corrosion preventer program.
That's the crew cleaning.
I was going to say, is it the crew cleaning?
Yeah.
By the way, Nick, Bart, one of our longtime viewers of Warbird Tube, he put in just a little note here saying congratulations to Embry-Riddle student Nick from his friends at CAF Tampa Bay, and Bart is also an Embry-Riddle alum as well. So there you go.
Yes, thank you, Bart. I do know Bart. I met him last year.
Okay.
Great guy. So thank you, Bart. I'll actually be seeing you Saturday. I'll be seeing you Saturday.
All right, just a few minutes before we'll wrap up tonight, but for the folks in the hangar, what's this journey been like for you, especially now with Nick being halfway across the country? Is it? I mean, with technology we can keep everybody together, right? But how's it been to just get this all rolling?
I'm really glad that Nick brought us all together and together with this airplane. There are so few airplanes that are like this. It's really a treasure, and that's why I want to be here and be part of this.
So how many of you were CAF members before the unit was formed?
None.
We're all
Just one, I think. Just one.
Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah. Okay. So it was really. Go ahead.
There were no local units. I mean, I had been to the air show in Dallas like a long time ago, and I always been trying to find a local unit, but they're always like multiple hour journeys away, which makes participation really hard. And then so I always wanted to join, but there was no opportunity. Then when I heard about this, I signed up pretty much right away, and haven't looked back since.
Good. Well, and it is a testament to what happens when a group of interested people get together and say, yeah, we can come together under the CAF banner and let's all do this, because why not? If there's not one here, let's make it.
Yep.
And you also have a event coming up on the 14th of this month.
Yes. So October 14th, we have the event at Hampton Airfield, our home airfield. Our airplane will be out there. It should be flying. Again, it depends how it feels.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to have other Warbirds show up to the airfield, have them on display, have other airplanes on display. I believe there's going to be RC planes as well. They're actually going to be there's going to be a few things. I know Rich can go into more detail with that.
We have some military participation from Fort Drum and the National Guard here in New Hampshire, some helicopters, but really focus on the PT-23 and our unit here at Hampton, for sure.
Good. Well, good luck with the event. I wish you nothing but great success, not only on that event, but in the coming year. And are you booking out any air shows or aviation events already for 2024?
Topic of our next meeting.
There you go.
Where you going, Lori?
Next Thursday's meeting, the 19th, or I guess it's the Thursday after next. Yeah. The 19th is, that's on the agenda for that meeting, Nick.
Yep. Sounds good.
Excellent. Well, Nick, any final thoughts before we wrap up tonight?
Again, thank you, Steve. Thank you to the media team. This has just been great. I'm so glad we're able to have our story shared to the world on Warbird Tube. So thank you, our members back at home. Thank you. Remember, this unit wouldn't be possible if you didn't say yes. And you did say yes, and here we are with our airplane, and we're chugging along. It's just
a great success story, and thank you all for spending some time with us tonight. We really appreciate it, and again, wishing you nothing but success in the years to come. I think we'll be hearing more about the New England Wing in the years to come with the CAF. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, Steve. We will.
All right. And thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Again, don't forget to click on that like, subscribe, or follow button, and we'll let you know about our future shows. If you have any ideas for topics you'd like to hear about or feedback on any of our shows, just send Leah Black an email at media@cafhq.org. Again, thanks to all the wing members who came out tonight and shared some of their perspectives on the New England Wing. Congratulations again. So until next time, from the Commemorative Air Force, I'm Steve Buss. Have a good night.